I never knew a woman brought to sea in a ship that some mischief did not befall the vessel. A quote by Cuthbert Collingwood, Admiral in the British Royal Navy. This is believed to be the source of the commonly known superstition that women were bad luck on a ship. However, the truth is that it wasn't uncommon for wives and daughters to escort captains aboard their ships. There are notorious women who made names for themselves as pirates. Setting sail, some dressed as men, and even commanded their respective ships. There was Bonny and Mary Read, who were pirates in the Caribbean, Zheng Yi Sao from China, or Grania O'Malley from Ireland. Anne Bonny was born in Ireland in 1697 as Anne McCormick. Around the age of 10, her father, a lawyer, moved them to America, where Anne enjoyed a comfortable life. At the age of 16, she met John Bonny, a near-destitute sailor whom she was determined to marry. Her father, William, disappointed in her selection of a suitor, suspected his potential son-in-law was aiming to acquire William's amassed wealth. Despite the threat to disinherit her, Anne proceeded to run away and marry Bonny. They ran away to the Caribbean, where they were living on Providence Island in the Bahamas. Anne became acquainted with John Rackham, otherwise known as Calico Jack. Calico Jack was a cunning pirate who was not known as a fierce fighter, but would utilize backstabbing and politics to get what he wanted. They began an affair and even offered money to John Bonny to incentivize a divorce between him and Anne. Bonny refused, and the lovers ran away and set sail together. Anne boarded the ship dressed as a man. It wasn't long after that they set sail that Anne became pregnant. It was agreed that Anne would stay with friends in Cuba until the baby was born. Once she had recovered, he sent for her to accompany him at sea once again. It is believed that they left the baby with friends. Mary Read was born in England around 1685. She was the product of a love affair between her mother and a married man. It is believed that the mother had been widowed with her husband dying at sea. She had an older brother who was from her mother's marriage, who died when he was still young. In order for her mother to continue getting financial support from her mother-in-law, she dressed Mary up as a boy and pretended that Mary was the son that she had lost. The ruse worked up until the mother-in-law's death. After the death of her mother-in-law, Mary continued to dress as a boy and got a job as a footboy for a period of time. Mary sought adventure and joined the British Navy around the age of 13. She moved on to serve as a foot soldier for the British military near Flanders. While serving with the military, she fell in love with a Flemish soldier, who she later married. Her husband died soon after they were married, and Mary rejoined the military in men's clothing once again. However, it was peacetime and there was little room for advancement. She ended up leaving the military and boarded a ship destined for the West Indies. Once the ship reached the Caribbean, her ship was overtaken by English pirates. Mary, dressed as Mark, decided to join them. In 1720, still dressed as a man, she joined the pirate ship run by Calico Jack and his companion, Anne Bonny. Anne and Mary became close. It wasn't until Anne revealed that she was a woman and had affection for Mark that Mary also revealed that she too was a woman dressed as a man. Their closeness raised suspicions and angered Calico Jack. Jack threatened to slit the throat of her new close companion, so Anne revealed that Mark was also a woman pretending to be a man. It is because of their closeness that many believe that the two women were actually lovers. It wasn't unusual for a pirate ship to be attacked, but it was unusual for the women aboard the ship to not step down and allow the men to fight. Anne and Mary were actually quite fearless when fighting. Mary and Anne, dressed as men, would fight alongside the most brave on the ship. In October of 1720, Calico Jack's boat was approached by Jonathan Barnett's sloop. He was a privateer working for the governor of Jamaica. Barnett's men had little resistance when taking over Jack's ship. Rackham had hosted a rum party, and most of the men on Jack's ship were too drunk to fight. After consistent fire from Barnett's men, Rackham's men fled to the hold. Read and Bonny and one other man were left on deck fighting off Barnett's men. Read called out to the men in the hold to come up and fight. With minimal response, Read angrily fired shots into the hold, intending to incentivize the men, but ended up killing one man and wounding others. Barnett and his men were successfully able to overtake Anne and Mary and took all those aboard as prisoners. Rackham's men and women were taken to what is now Spanish Town, Jamaica, and put on trial. They were sentenced to hang for acts of piracy. Both Read and Bonny claimed that they were with child and granted stays of execution until their babies were born. It is unclear what happened to Bonny. We do know that she was not executed, but when and where she died still remains a mystery. While in prison, Mary Read died of a fever. She was buried in Jamaica on April 28, 1721. There was no mention of her baby. It is likely she died while pregnant. A life as a pirate wasn't easy, but as an unconventional woman in the 1700s, it provided a life of excitement and adventure.